If you were like me, then you too were glued to your screen when Heated Rivalry dropped on HBO Max in November last year, watching the love story between hockey rivals Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov blossom. You too were eager for a new episode weekly, and maybe you were poring over the show subreddit after each episode, reading the paragraphs of headcanons and theories of where their story could go next. Just having fun, enjoying a new gay show where the main conflict isn't violent homophobia, because, we get so few of those. But if you peek your head in now, the fandom is ripping itself apart. People are manufacturing drama and discourse on the real life actors, oftentimes based on nothing. And from what I can tell, some people have even taken sides, electing to lift up one actor and bash the other. It got so bad that the actors themselves have been forced to condemn all of this toxic behavior. And the craziest thing about all of this, none of this is coming from homophobic men or the religious right. It's coming from straight women within the fandom, but it's coming from a very specific group of women. Now, when I say Heated Rivalry fans are crazy, I don't mean all of us. I think we can all venture a guess on who I'm referring to. And if you can't, then Diva, it's probably you. Fujoshi is a slang term or archetype for a female person who is infatuated with boy love content, referred to in Japanese as yaoi. Now, yaoi in Japan has certain tropes, cliches, and traditions associated with it. It's fully a genre depicted across manga, anime, even film and TV. Yaoi is often associated with romance involving younger men and is generally created for women who enjoy man-on-man romance and or erotica. A common trope in Japanese film and TV is for one of the female characters to be a fujoshi, who romanticizes the perceived relationship between two of her male acquaintances. And the men involved don't even consent to it and oftentimes don't even know what's happening. Fujoshi literally translates to rotten girl. It also implies that the archetype would describe a girl who's not only interested in yaoi content, but obsessed with it to a point that she can generally feel insufferable to be around. And I am no stranger to the Fujoshis. Now, I've been on the internet a long time, and I've been queer even longer, which is to say, I ran the AO3 streets, right? I was in the Wattpad trenches, and I was in the fanfiction.net trap house. I've been here before. Scrolling through the deep blue dashboard of Tumblr. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tumblr is a microblogging and social networking site where you can post videos, photos, audio, and text to a short form blog. It operates like a mix between a traditional blog and a social media feed, allowing you to easily share, customize, and curate your own digital space. It's sort of like if MySpace and Blogger had a kid, Tumblr would be their cool little emo teenager. Tumblr at its peak was famously home to dedicated and, truth be told, rabid communities for TV shows, movies, video games, and other pop culture. Tumblr was home to a lot of fandoms, but there was one that I think is the blueprint for what type of fan behavior we're seeing now with Heated Rivalry. The SuperWhoLock fandom was a massive internet subculture that dominated Tumblr during the early 2010s. It was a crossover fandom, mashing together the universes of CW's Supernatural, BBC's Doctor Who, and BBC's Sherlock. Fan-driven fan fiction combined these characters into wild crossovers, despite the shows having literally no official canon connection to each other. Now, there was a time where you couldn't even scroll through your dashboard without seeing a video, a set of GIFs, or a one-page fanfic centering the characters from one of or all of these shows. Now, this on its own isn't bad. It's community, it's bonding over shared interests. And it wasn't uncommon for people to just like one or two shows in the trifecta. I myself liked all three. SuperWhoLock was so big on Tumblr, you had to curate your feed to avoid it. Mind you, this was when the Avengers, the Hunger Games, and the Harry Potter franchises were all still active. And the SuperWhoLock fandom seemed to be owned and operated by Fujoshis. And I'm not just saying that. Most of the popular fan fiction, fan art, and even cosplay from this fandom was gay and created by women. The main ship of this fandom was Destiel, Dean Winchester and Castiel from Supernatural. This ship went so hard for so long that it eventually became canon.
I love you.
The power. And the perpetrators? White women. And you can feel how you want to feel about me saying that, but I wasn't showing the actors explicit gay fan art or trying to get them to read smut at conventions. That was y'all. Y'all was all just being horny and cringe on Tumblr back then. And nothing illustrates this more than this infamous posts dating back to sometime in 2012. And 2012, like, remember that when people were like, the world's gonna end? And it honestly should have. I digress. This post is a screenshot from Facebook where user Kari Bowling wrote, Tumblr equal boring. The internet must hate us, XD. An innocuous post from a young person who was just communicating how they weren't really feeling the platform. Then Kennedy Brooks Williams commented, LOL, I had mine for like 15 minutes and I just deleted it. Then in comes user Amber Renee Burchett, who replied, shut the hell up. Tumblr is life. Now, Tumblr's life was sort of like the live, laugh, love tapestry of the platform. You were discovering so much about yourself, you were learning so much information, and you were connecting with people all over. It was great. It was actually really great. That was just it was it was a solid time, and that sentiment was to echo that. It was corny. Kari then replied, no, I made one and 5 minutes later, I deleted it. XD. God, the raw XD scene kid time of the internet. That's like original recipe cringe, by the way. But the diva was done. Amber said, do not speak of Tumblr in any of this sort. Like, just cringe, girl. And Kari says, I'm sorry. And I read it as like, oh, okay, girl, sorry. But then Amber ends this with a thread. She says, I'll post this on there and they'll find you. Mind you, all the people involved are little white girls who probably have social anxiety. But Amber, true to her word, posted the screenshot on Tumblr, and I'm sorry, even I at the time thought this was corny. Under the screenshot, various fandoms assembled to denounce this slander, each bringing a defining element from the respective fandoms. For example, Harry Potter fans wrote, Potterheads bring your wands. For Doctor Who fans, Whovians, hop in your TARDISes. And Supernatural fans, grab your shotguns. But to do what? This is all online. None of it's real. The gaggiest thing about this, honestly, is that Amber posted this screenshot with Kari's full name, essentially low-key kind of doxing her to the crazy people on Tumblr. But Kari ain't had nothing to worry about because this response was all on Tumblr, and Kari didn't have one. She deleted it after 5 minutes. And truth be told, so did I the first time I made one. I didn't understand the platform, who to follow, how to find stuff on there, so I was out. But then a couple weeks later, my friend walked me through it and gave me a few people to follow to start off with, and then I was hooked. But, so many people weren't, and that's okay. I think like a lot of what was happening was people were building community, figuring themselves out, and sort of like building parts of their person. And any contrasting beliefs or opinions felt like a personal attack on their identity. So, naturally they felt like they had to defend themselves. Just a website full of people with no self-regulation, in my opinion. This girl, they even tried it with me a few times. So I was a gift maker on Tumblr, and I would post gift sets from different gay movies and TV shows. And I got so many DMs, anonymous or otherwise, telling me about how I should be only posting SuperWhoLock because no other shows mattered, and about how I was never going to be good as their fave creator, and how a lot of them was like alleging that I stole a lot of their favorite creators' sort of like looks. And I was like, okay, and I might have stolen a font or two, but that's mind your business. Girl, you mad that I used the same font as someone else? I just ended up blocking them because it was as simple as that for me. I think it's important to mention that most of Tumblr at that time was made up of young people. Most people on Tumblr were like in high school and college. I know I was. But after a couple of years, it seemed that as fast as the SuperWhoLock fandom rose to dominate the site, it disappeared almost quickly. Now, there are so many theories as to what exactly happened to the once burgeoning fandom. I mean, some attribute the growing trend of social justice warriors who would incite discourse around each of the shows, often weaponizing purity culture and their various bad takes, turning off fans of the once fun fandom. Others say that the fandom simply grew up, graduated high school and college, and moved on to other interests. The reason that I think it fell off, and the reason why most modern shows fall off for me, is because of the diminishing quality of those shows, episodes and storylines, and the long waits in between seasons. Fandoms have two major phases that they cycle between: reactive and transformative. Reactive fandoms are what you get when new content is actively being released. The fans are talking about what just happened, what's going to happen next, or what the latest revelations all mean. Transformative fandoms are when the creative types get involved, with longer term predictions and bringing fan work, especially fanfiction. Generally, a fandom will be reactive during the release of new material, then transformative during the off-season. I think the same sort of thing is happening with the Heated Rivalry fandom. Now, it's unclear whether these Fujoshis are the same Tumblr girlies or not, but the behavior is the same. One of the cast members, Francois Arnard, who plays hockey player Scott Hunter, even deactivated his social media accounts due to harassments and death threats.
If it's getting a bit crazy, I blocked Twitter from my phone. I don't want to know what people are saying in that cesspool. And Instagram, I just get distracted. It's really brain rot and stops me from achieving anything I want to in life.
And it's like, death threats in 2026? Like, this insane behavior of this piece of the fandom is having real life effects on actual people, two of which are queer. You know, like the characters you swear to just love so much. You know, I feel as though I have to hold your hand when I say this. These actors don't know you. And more importantly, you don't know them. You don't know the texts they're sending to each other, the phone calls they may or may not be having, nothing. You are at your house looking at pre-recorded images on the screen. Please behave accordingly. So when I checked in on the Heated Rivalry fandom post season 1 after it became a phenomenon, I saw everything from people alleging that Connor's story was the less talented of the pair, that Hudson Williams doesn't actually like Connor, and there's a rift between them, and even that Francois was an evil person because he minimized the impact of the show by referring to it as porn, which the books are smut, y'all. Like, what are we talking about? Now, I'm not saying that women don't get to watch gay stuff or have an opinion on gay stuff. No one's saying that. But when you dislike something and can't handle it, so you shoot that energy outward, when your psychotic parasocial behavior ruins the vibe and turns people off from the fandom, as well as run the actors away from ever interacting with the fandom, we gotta take a beat and have y'all look in the mirror. I think the Heated Rivalry fandom is split into two distinctive sides. There's one side, the side I'm on, where we love the show, we love how cute and gay it was, we love what it said, and we love what it did for the actors involved and the visibility and representation it afforded queer men, and more specifically queer men in sports. Then there's the other side, who have become so obsessed parasocially with the actors and show and police what they say or do, as well as what gay fans of the show say or do, creating narratives that don't make sense and having hot takes that make even less sense. But in my travels, I found a litmus test to use to meter which side you're on, and that is, how do you feel about episode 3? Episode 3 of Heated Rivalry, titled Hunter, sees hockey player Scott and his romance with art history grad student and barista Kip. The episode features a meet cute at the smoothie place where Kip works, where we see Scott return time after time to see him. The episode continues with Scott and Kip entering into a relationship, where they keep it on the low. The episode ends with Kip celebrating his birthday and acceptance into grad school with his friends and no Scott, as Scott elects to stay in the closet until he retires. The episode was cute and layered and was a much needed shift in focus that expanded the show's scope and showcased a different couple also navigating secrecy within professional hockey. And not to mention, Scott and Kip is who we start the book with. They are the game changers. The episode showed a stark contrast between Scott and Kip and Shane and Ilya and their respective support groups or lack thereof, as well as contrasting dynamics between the two and how they communicate or fail to. It was a great way to show that there are hella closeted athletes navigating this all and no one situation is the same. It gave queer men hope. It was fluff, which I like my gay stories to have. Gay doom and gloom and angst are always enjoyable as narrative devices, and it was nice to have both queer couples depicted in the show, and arguably, most importantly, Shane and Ilya seeing Scott and Kip's love broadcast on TV is what got us to the damn cottage. And this episode really resonated with queer men. You know, people the show is about. Argentinian Olympic field hockey player Nicolas Keenan, who's engaged to Dutch politician Rob Jetten, posted about Heated Rivalry, saying,
It's how I started my relationship with my fiance was that way. That was a closeted professional hockey player. So for me, it was really hard. I felt really ashamed watching the show that I could put someone in that situation, you know, like, so that's why I'm not proud. The moment I met Rob, like, it really felt like he was the right person to shout to the world, okay, I'm in love with this guy. So actually he gave me the trust and the confidence to really go outside and say, okay, I'm a hockey player and I'm in love with this guy as well.
Gold medal Olympic skier Gus Kenworthy originally didn't see what the big deal was, saying that he thought that gays were just horny, which, fair. But it was episode 3 that changed it all for him, saying, quote, "And then the Scott Hunter character. I really related to him. He wanted to be out, but really just truly felt like he couldn't be because of his circumstances. That was me for so many years. I had the same yearning to be in love, to be public, and to not have to hide." Episode 3 served as sort of like an aspirational tale for the athletes who are currently closeted, giving them hope and something to aspire to. And it gave openly queer athletes a story that resonated with their own past experiences. Heated Rivalry is gay fanfic. It just is. And I'm team gay fanfic till I die. No one is saying that women shouldn't write it or even read it. No one's saying that. But at the end of the day, it's written by women who can't, by definition, really know or understand the real lived experience of queer folks. And this is all to be consumed by other women who will then learn the author's fantasy version of the queer experience, which would be fine. It's fiction. But the girls who consumed it consistently and aggressively try to apply it to real life. And that's the problem. And I think this is exactly why they feel like they need to push queer men out of the fandom as well. To them, it's by women for women, so to them, we're the intruders. But we're talking about the show, an adaptation of a gay book series headed by a gay writer, director, producer. So the audience is going to include queer men. Y'all know that, right? And fandoms, by definition, are a shared space. But if you want to break into small groups and communities where it's just women who love the show and talk to each other about it, fine. But to suggest that queer men have no place in the fandom because the show isn't for us is crazy. And for some, this is what it was like being on Tumblr during the SuperWhoLock era. Hardcore fangirls with a following would dictate what makes everyone an actual fan of the thing, dictating who could and couldn't stay. Now, ganging up on people who have differing opinions on fictional characters is wild, but that's what was happening. Extending that energy parasocially and bothering the cats with all of their internet foolishness was just their pastime. All of that mixed in with accountability that we all suddenly are constantly checking for in our celebrities and our government, you would get those heated rivalry girls. And I cannot stress how different we are. Queer men are watching a show about queer men that is about love, acceptance, safe spaces, and community. We're watching a show that centers queer men in a positive light, as most queer films end in tragedy or relegate us to the sassy gay best friend. Straight women are watching boys kiss boys. Just look at the lookalike contests all over social media. And quiet as it's kept, I'm not complaining about that. I'm not anti that, but we're not the same, girl. We, as queer people, have been screaming from the rooftops for queer content that maybe doesn't make us feel like there's no hope, or that there'll always be danger or sickness or loneliness around every corner. So we're all ecstatic for Heated Rivalry. And I just kind of need straight women to chill the fuck out. Y'all are all new to this. This is a huge win for queer people, but y'all are the ones holding up the trophy. Queer people aren't characters in a book. We're living, breathing people. People, by the way, who are relating to the story. If you know all of this and still decide to try to exclude us, I'd venture out to say that you don't deserve to be over here with the queers. You don't deserve the queer stories, and you don't deserve to be in our spaces. And before y'all start, you are not being victimized. You're being made aware of your bad behavior. What are y'all gonna do when season 2 rolls around? Pretend like y'all wasn't out here terrorizing the girlies and acting crazy? Cause the internet is keeping track. I don't care what y'all do, just figure it out. Because y'all are really starting to piss me off.